If you were ever to attend the Super Smash Bros. Melee tournament in Chicagoland, there are some things you could expect. The Scherzo Taunt, the Ober Laser, the Iggy Pummel. And then, of course, if you're lucky, maybe someone will pull their DK out. CLM has been a character-diverse region in many ways over the years. In the modern era, we're one of the few regions to still have a ranked Dr. Mario. Yoshimane DZ is also continuing to do work in region. Still, our signature might just be the unsolicited DK pick.
If you're asking about Azzu going DK, it's not a troll. He's literally gone DK against he has literally counterpicked DK to FD against every single Fox and everybody, I think, on every set that I've seen him play so far.
In Event Hub's list of popular characters in SSBM, DK sits dead last, with only 0.9% of all recorded players using the character in tournament. Liquipedia's chart of character distribution in single sets has nearly 100,000 recorded sets with Fox. Comparatively, only 907 sets feature Donkey Kong. Despite this, during CLM's summer 2019 season, 2 ranked players recorded Donkey Kong secondaries. Meanwhile, CLM's number 10 player of fall 2021, Azzu, has been no stranger to the Kong, whipping him out in multiple sets at mid lane while retaining a strong competitive record. Why does this keep happening? Looking for answers, I reached out to some of CLM's best Donkey Kong players to see just why they keep bringing out the Kong. The 2 DK secondaries who were ranked in 2019 belong to CLM Peach Ferocitii and CLM Fox JustJoe, the co-head TOs of Fudd Brudders Melee. Hosted at a real live Fuddruckers, this weekly event was always a bit different from Chicagoland's other Melee locals, and DK was definitely a part of that culture. At times, it would be easy to mistake this Downers Grove Fuddruckers for a bona fide ape sanctuary. Trix, at the time one of the best Pikachu mains in the world, also played a meaty DK. Others would join in too, like Falco main iWater and Fox main The Corporation. The Kongs weren't all just for fun either. Ferocitii's DK, for example, came as an answer to his trouble playing against Michael's Puff every week as a Peach main. Still, of all of these DKs, JustJoe's is the one that would probably go on to make the biggest impact.
It was bait for the upper, to be honest. He went for it, for sure.
For Joe, DK is a character that he now thinks represents growth. But it wasn't always that way. When he was a new player, Joe was often at the receiving end of DK secondaries of Chicago players, like Hindog and Andale. While neither main DK, their use of the character was often effective, planting a seed, Joe says, in the next generation of players. Hindog especially was an enigmatic figure. The Falco main is no longer active in the scene, but made a big impact when he was around. According to Joe, Hindog saw great potential in the ape.
Hindog was a really good player when me and Ferocitii started playing in like 2015. He was a big believer in Donkey Kong too.
Yeah.
He infamously made a meme. Yeah, so the picture that he made was a Donkey Kong potential chart. And at a certain point, it just started going very linearly straight upwards. Having more ultimate potential than every other character. And I know, like, when me and Strix saw that, like, that left an imprint to be awakened later on us years later.
Joe's greatest loss to DK would not come from an in-region player. It would come from someone outside, a player whose Kong would shake him to the core, the dastardly Ringler. Here's Ferocitii describing that loss.
And yeah, legend has it, and I can definitely support this legend that Ringler in a major, I think it was like a Smash and Splash. We knew him as the Ringler back then. I guess it was just never his name, but it just definitely is a much more menacing name.
Yeah.
Had beat him in bracket with DK, and in a pretty traumatic, very very powerful way. And yeah, that was a void that not many people have been in after that set. And yeah, I think they said that Joe got wringled out of playing Falco.
Ringler had played Mango, one of the best Falcos of all time, as a top 128 qualifier at Smash and Splash 3 the year prior.
Totally. Man, that was a fast double dare.
Yeah, super quick.
First game was like a minute 30. This game was a minute 50.
Comparatively, he said playing Joe was no big deal.
And I was like, well, this guy's not as good as Mango. I feel like one stock from Mango is roughly the equivalent of like 4 Joe stocks. So I remember Prince Abu came up to me after and was like, whoa, you beat Joe with DK? I was like, yeah. And he was like, you beat Joe's Falco? I was like, yeah. He's like, oh, wow. I don't know if I could have done that with my DK. It's like, okay, Abu. Okay.
Joe was crushed by the loss, dropping his main Falco to begin maining Fox. But in the process, he found healing through Donkey Kong. He would play DK regularly at the Fudd's Melee Weeklies, of course, and he'd even bring it out at regionals. At one point, even changing his Twitter name from JustJoe to simply Jonky Chong. Perhaps the best illustration of this evolution from Joe came at Show Me Your Moves 20, when Joe faced off against another CLM player, Lazarus, in a blistering set of DK versus Marth. For a moment, JustJoe was dead, and there was only Jonky Chong.
Goes for the up. That's it. He's just going to take it. Oh my gosh. Yep. In production, ready with the camera work. Jonky Jong.
Donkey Kong.
Almost knocks over the chair, and look at him go. We are going to want you to lower the mic. I know you have a lot going through your head right now. I know you're trying to like calm down a little bit.
I don't know if it's a lot going through my head right now.
Are we live?
Or absolutely nothing. I just feel...
How do you feel?
A lot of energy.
I can tell.
You went bananas.
What? And there you have it, folks. There's the winner's interview. The champion of Show Me Your Moves 20, Jonky Jong.
3 years later, Joe remains a stalwart believer in Donkey Kong.
At this point in my career, Donkey Kong is a creature of empowerment. Any Wranglings that have been imprinted on my soul from Ringler are now positives. I have a new community of very primal brethren, and I'm happy about that.
Wow.
Me and DK, we're simple guys. We know what's going on.
Joe's DK is a legend, but it's far from the only DK in Chicagoland. And in fact, the one you're most likely to see nowadays is the one that belongs to Azzu, who has a tendency to bring it out at almost every mid lane he attends. Azzu's journey to pulling out DK came differently. In Chicago's history, he points to Andale as an inspiration. Ultimately, though, Azzu's Kong came not from Chicago influence, but from Michigan. It was 2020, and Azzu was having controller problems while entering free net play brackets. The pandemic had meant that in-person events were on pause, which meant Azzu had no trouble getting a little silly with it. Michigan Icy's Quang had made some good showings with DK of his own in the past, and he suggested that Azzu follow suit. Being a simple character, messing up DK execution wouldn't hurt as much. The Kong has stuck around since, but Azzu's feelings about DK aren't quite as optimistic as his simian peers. He feels the character is frankly pretty bad, and continues to keep him around mostly only as a meme counterpick. As for Joe and Ferocitii, they think there's more to the ape than meets the eye.
I feel like every person that is, every player that has become like a DK alternate, hated DK
right,
first. They
right.
hate DK.
They're like, this is so stupid. Why am I losing to this? And then at a certain point, like something in their brain just flips the switch, and it's like, wait, this isn't stupid. There's a level of genius that I'm not aware of yet.
And so, how genius really is DK? And is there a place for him in Melee's competitive meta? Or is he just a funny ape, doomed to wander the margins of the competitive landscape, and to shine only briefly, only fleetingly? I asked Ringler about where he views the character in this current meta, and how he thinks DK might change over time.
I think DK has, he's got potential. I think he can move up in the tier list. I think with time he could be considered better than Young Link, Mario. I think he's definitely better than Ganon. Could be better than Doc, I guess. I don't know. Definitely never going to be better than like Yoshi, Samus, Pikachu, you know. Like one tier down from those characters. I think at the end of the day, it's just 99.9% of people just don't have the fight. They don't have it in their heart. It takes a real special kind of warrior to pick up the stakes and select DK.
Thank you for watching. For those who have made it this far, I was kind of looking for a way to like wrap things up, and I think I'm just kind of gonna do like a little like epilogue here. Joe and Ferocitii, they're both two of Chicago's best players right now, according to our official stat keeping system here in CLM. Their DKs are both no longer common enough to be considered PR'd, but you do see them every now and then. Ringler has probably become the best solo DK in the world. Just this past weekend, he beat Bobby Big Balls at SmashCon, he's won a Summit VIP bracket, and he's beaten the likes of Zamu, Shroomed, and KJH in the last 12 months. I don't think he really is a name that people who watch Melee need to be told about anymore. He's a guy. Hindog has not been seen since the 2019 National Melee Arcadian, where he reportedly dropped off 50 bananas as well as a pile of the Vietnamese currency dongs before leaving. I was not able to reach him for this piece, but Hindog, if you're out there, I'd love to talk. Same goes to Andale. And then the DK trend has also officially been recognized in Chicago. If you watch Mid Lane Melee, you might notice the Chicago Melee Twitch channel has its own Donkey Kong emote featuring the face of our former head TO Unsure wearing a DK helmet. As for Jonky Jong, I'm not sure if he's been seen since 2020, but his spirit definitely does live on today in the form of countless Donkey Kong secondaries and mains.
It took me literally maybe like 2 years to learn that Jonky Jong was JustJoe. I just thought he was a weird guy.